Yeah, we suck right now.
The culture behind this game.
Like, I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from the pick sixes.
Both of these teams are forced into conscription, hobbled into battle with damaged and disabled goods aplenty in front of all the Niners faithful at SoFi Stadium. And they'll give them a show with their B team on offense too. Who the hell needs CMC, Debo, or Kittle when you have Jawan Jennings? In the face of adversity, he's having his breakout moment. 175 yards and 3 TDs generating instant chemistry with Big Cock Brock slapping their nuts across LA's face. With a 14-point lead against the Little Giants version of the Rams, this should be a cakewalk. If it weren't for their defense giving up penalty after penalty. Lovely day. One-score game. Field goals will be swapped between rivals on failed red zone drives, but there's another chance to make it a 2-possession game. Someone tell me San Francisco's most hated band today. The Moody Blues. Knights in white satin, this is not. Stafford just dices the Niners D faster than lightning and it's suddenly a tie game. But late in the fourth quarter, Shanahan's got a chance to overcome and win it. All he needs is another first down.
Rams bring an extra man on the pressure. Purdy steps up, looks deep, Ronnie Ball! Hold on!
Ronnie, no! Shanahan's tears dropped to the ground like that pass. You have to catch that. That would have won the Niners another home game. They would have escaped the hounds of hell. Not with Stafford's penchant for comebacks. Have you learned nothing from his time in Detroit? Or are you surprised that it happened again? Welcome back to field goal range. Now bring it home and send these fans away miserable.
Carney, comeback, complete, Rams win, taking the lead with 2 seconds left.
Sean McVay still got it. No big weapons and a D team for the lineup, they'll beat their rivals. Shanahan choking narrative won't go away, but that's been a thing since 28-3. This was more about the Rams and their resolve. Their season lives on. Like a zombie, it shuffles to its next victim. I have to go over this. This wasn't football. This was on-field jankum derived from heaps of cow dung. Perhaps we can get high off the noxious fumes instead of suffer through what these two teams depict as the sport. It more resembled the modern art interpretation of suffering. Dostoevsky himself would be in awe at such a revelation of pain. The only positive being Ramondre Stevenson's revival from the depths of being benched. New England is one of the finest Tank Bowl contestants this year. From their horrific offense to god-awful offensive line, Jacoby Brissett will be wearing a colostomy bag by week 15. Miami's isn't much better. Tyler Huntley starting again, and he's leading a Pro Bowl caliber charge of shit. Only the field goal will be their ally as the Dolphins slowly creep into the affair. Yet New England isn't what we call good. Miami will cradle the ball Tyreek style and hold it for most of the fourth quarter. Thank you, battered Patriot defense and penalties. They'll slowly go down the field, and in the most shocking revelation, Miami scores a touchdown. In a tourless age. Crazy. Yet the on-field abortions will continue. The Patriots are rushing with fury. They get to the red zone, and worse, a touchdown is secured. Or so we think. Jalen Polk is 1 foot down, a toe in, and then the heel goes out of bounds. The Patriots lost their plot armor a while ago, so this pass is incomplete. Everyone feels so bad for them as they lose. Miami survives an atomic bomb dropping to go 2-3. I don't get it, but they did. Now may we never speak of this again. This is for supremacy in the NFC West, but it feels so much weaker than that this year. What we see now are two hobbled franchises. No health at the skill positions for San Fran, no health in the secondary for Seattle. And it would get worse for them during the game. In front of the 12s, the Seahawks ended up exposing themselves for every flaw in the book. One of the more porous defenses in the NFL, terrible at stopping the run, unable to run themselves anymore. It's a disaster that only got more agonizing. San Francisco was giving them every chance in the book to come back. Come on, Seattle, you can do it! We've blown double-digit leads twice this year. Join them in victory! The Seahawks respond with the worst performance Geno's had all year and gobs of untimely penalties. 3 straight losses on a defense that surrenders like Cornwallis at Yorktown. Seattle, you're in such shit you don't know how deep you're in it. The Niners won with Brock Purdy barely breaking a sweat with spare parts, and they did so with relative ease. That's damning. But don't think you're getting out of this one, boys. Another dub means more injuries as penance. You like Jordan Mason? What Jordan Mason? I don't see anything like him around. He'll be starting some dudes from the beer league in week 9 who will tear their ACL in the first quarter. Final game in London was one so ugly it could be called beans on toast. It's here where the Jags finally get revenge for the 2018 AFC Championship game. Miles Jack caught it and Jacksonville won it today. Far too late to feel joy, but if a team can't stop Tank Bigsby from running over his opponents, just keep feeding him the rock. The Patriots are as vulnerable as they were during that winter in Valley Forge. No defense and freezing to death. Destroyed every which way from across the English Channel and back. Gerard Mayo, showing no awareness as a head coach, said his team is softer than Charmin. Just don't point at who has to prepare the team for games, or if they have any talent left on the squad that's healthy. Well, at least Drake May looks promising with absolutely nothing around him. He's not Mac Jones. Yet. A true quandary. New England loses in horrific fashion yet wins the greater prize in the Tank Bowl. Jacksonville finally wins another game, but Peterson and Balky get to keep their jobs for another week. Who really lost here? This was truly a game of games. One that occurred on this day. I'll simply let the action on the field take center stage as the good Lord above intended. He's a fucking asshole. If he were merciful, he would have sunk this stadium into the abyss to save us from such horrible atrocities. Bane had the wrong target for his act. This is a far worse disaster than what he pulled off. Do you like bad football? Do you like unforced turnovers and fuck-ups? Do you like miserable fans? Then this is the game for you. Tied at 10 deep in the second half because neither team can do a damn thing. Both understand the rules of Tank Bowl. I respect it. Tennessee may have forced a fumble on Drake May and scored a touchdown to take the lead, but they're in front of the home crowd. They have to pretend their foolish playoff ambitions are coming back to life. It all comes down to one final drive for New England, taking care of a weak Titans defense to get down to the annals of the red zone. But time is running short, and past attempts have come up empty. Last chance, Patriots. Godspeed.
Patting the ball. May scanning. Loads of time. He'll roll.
Nope.
He'll run. A sidestep. He's ready to throw. Nobody's open. End zone touchdown.
The Titans imploding. Never saw that happen before. Drake May pulled magic beads out of his ass to bring this game to overtime. Unfortunately for him, there were only a finite amount in there. Turns out the Patriots lack pieces on defense and aren't facing the Jets. Tennessee and their suspect offensive line's just gonna bully them in the trenches to eat pretty much all the clock available. The best defense is offense, and this gimme field goal gives them the lead. It's gonna be up to Drake to pull off the greatest heist in his career.
May rolling, throwing back. Down the field, intercepted.
He was caught by infrared sensors and shot by turrets. Cheer up, New England. This gets you one step closer to Travis Hunter. This is a great thing. Tennessee can deal with this pesky winning. You're gonna get the real prize. It's one your organization needs badly. Here lie two dead franchises before you. One has been rotting away in the corner for years. The other's been using necromancy to try and keep themselves alive, yet failing miserably at it. All the cap spells and restructures of men have lost their potency. What you get are two really bad football teams. Two groups that need wins to give themselves something. Anything, really. Carolina, at least, is just terrible. The Saints are pretending they aren't. And it's an uncomfortably close contest for them. Nola's ability to generate yards upon yards of offense is doing nothing since they can't convert them into points. Back and forth it goes, and we all hope the Panthers win for the sake of laughter. Their defense is somewhat doing what they need to do, yet the Saints' offense is reminding us all how the first 2 weeks were an outright fluke. Honestly, it'd be pretty funny if they lost to a bottom feeder.
Perfect.
One starting a broken Bryce Young, of all things. They're allowing him to perform competently with long passes and pass interference penalties. Good for him. He deserves something positive in this world. Serves these stubborn Saints executives right.
And Hubbard slides through the defense, breaks through the 5, toward the end zone, slides in safely.
You want us to take you seriously as a franchise and you're out here losing to the Panthers? The team on pace for one of the worst point differentials in league history. Don't you dare blame injuries for this bullshit. Carolina's just as battered as New Orleans is. It's fucking over, Saints. You're lower in the standings than a 5-alarm fire. You've lost 7 in a row. The team's a vegetable in hospice. Chris Olave suffered his 6th concussion in 5 years as Derek Carr's giving him the Austin Collie treatment. Just pull the damn plug. Trade Marshawn to a real team so we can have a chance to win again. And then send Dennis Allen with a canoe into the Gulf. Forgive them, Lord, for they have sinned against you.
Achtung! Erleben Sie die größte Qualität. Die Panzerrote die Aufhängebänden von München. Eine schmerzhafte Umbungen und zungenhaften American Football aller Booster für vergangene Stunden. Giants gegen Panthers im Bestreben der NFL. Das Spiel global zu machen. Potenziell 8 Spieler pro Jahr von Danny Dubs gegen Bryce Young. Oh, was für eine schreckliche Freude wir haben. Alles, was New York tun kann, jede Gelegenheit zu nutzen, wird und voller Pracht gezeigt. Young tritt in der Red Zone. Schreckliche abgefälschte Interceptions in der Red Zone. Die Verteidigung war nicht in der Lage, einen Fingerhut zu stoppen, geschweige den Bryce Young. Er ist der verbotene Todes. Verlierst du gegen ihn, wärst du gefeuert. Wie leichter passiert es Danny Dubs. Ein Fumble verschafft New York eine gute Feldposition. Doch Josie Jewell reißt und dem Receiver aus der Hand. Oh, schreckliche Freude. Dieses Spiel ist ein Kriegsverbrechen. Demnach wird in Nürnberg wegen der beschämenden Fußballerfrungen der Prozess gemacht. Viel schlimmer noch, wir müssen Überstunden machen. Dies ist ein Experiment, das Mängel aufstoßen führen würde. Die Giants stimmen zu.
He hands this one off. And there's a fumble. Ball is loose on the opening possession of overtime.
Picked up. New York beschert Carolina mit Leichtigkeitssieger in Folge. Und dazu brach ich nur einen Beinschlag.
Pinheiro takes the throw.
Giants herzlichen Glückwunsch zu ihrer Schukenasche durch Sanders. Ich werde kein Wort sagen, aber wir wissen, dass man ein Idiot ist und sie später aus Versehen 1 oder 2 Spiele gewinnen wird. Das ist einfach die Art der G-Mana. New Orleans is doing it again. They're rattling off a few wins when it doesn't matter and deluding their executive branch into thinking being competitive is just a few less injuries away. If you didn't expect this surge to another 8-win season, I don't know what to tell you. Famous Jameis is returning to the place he made delicious turnovers in and baked an outright gem. Almost 400 yards of passing in a near immaculate day. If the Browns don't get in their own damn way at every opportunity, or if their kicker could make a damn field goal. It's tied at 14 in the second half, but unfortunately this is where Cleveland's hopes begin and end. Today's superhero on the bayou is a simple man. A Swiss Army knife that can kill you in 12 different ways. We call him Taysom Football. What's his favorite position? Obviously football. The Browns defense couldn't stop him whatsoever. The throwback to 2019 terrorizing Cleveland in every way possible. Don't look now, but the Saints are marching back to hell. 4-7 and the rest of their division is imploding on itself. Oh Lord, the terrible hope. New Orleans doesn't need any more foolish ambitions. The fortunate thing is that Miami has a chance to escape Tank Bowl contention soon. When you play teams like the Raiders, it's all but a certain possibility. Las Vegas is a sideshow that's more interested in fighting for the likes of Cam Ward and potentially a new head coach. Miami still has long-shot ambitions of a postseason ticket, but it was looking quite perilous in the first half. The Dolphins, despite their metric ton of yardage and time of possession, couldn't truly shake off their adversary. The Raiders may not have a defense, but Miami's unit in that end is both hobbled and quite ineffective. Good news, you can't stop Brock Bowers whatsoever. Dread it, but it's an offensive showcase for both groups, turning into a drag race. More alarming for Miami, but Tua's still in the saddle. And he will unleash his abilities with haste. He wants to finish this, and he will with a precision throw to Jonnu Smith. Arthur Smith's pizza sense is tingling somewhere in Pittsburgh with this news. Don't worry, Gardner's gonna fuck it up soon. There we go. Miami survives to rattle off consecutive wins with some momentum. Raiders, the tank bull is yours with consecutive loss number 6. And oh, what a prize it shall be. What is the prize this year anyway? There's no clear-cut number 1 pick. Anyone pay attention to this game? It merely existed as background noise as America indulged in roast turkey and groan-worthy lectures about politics at the dinner table. This was slop content. Cooper Rush against Drew Lock in a poorly executed trash heap merely made for cheap views and shock value. The shock is in how terrible it was. They couldn't even give us the Tommy DeVito and Trey Lance comedy fest that would have supplied entire food banks. I don't even remember a single notable moment out of it besides the pick 6. Everything blended together. A great game to pass out on the couch with a food coma. Unfortunately for the rest of us, such a miserable display as Finite and Dallas stay slightly ahead for their first home win of the year. Oh, wonderful, Jerry Boy can pretend his team's competitive and do nothing to fix things.
My God, you beat the Giants?
A team without Sexy Dexy for the year now? Joke's on them, they wanted to lose for the first pick. We should really be afraid. You barely took care of a garbage team, Micah. Calm your damn tits. The only thing you're coming for is a vacation to Cancun in January. Speaking of Cancun...
Miss!
We need to exile the Jags and Titans to where they belong. Mid-season Thursday night football. This was absolute garbage. I don't blame any of you for not watching. Jacksonville is shit and Tennessee is shit. End of story. The fact that we even have to waste breath discussing such an abomination is a testament to the failings of late-stage football. Fodder for Sparrowditis on the call and about 3 people eager to see a team win a game. Shameful displays, yet someone has to win. Sadly for Duval, the Titans can only kick field goals. Jaguars did the worst thing imaginable. Drive to score a touchdown. Wrecking their tank with a tank. The irony isn't lost on us. Congratulations, Jacksonville. You won a meaningless game and in the process potentially fucked yourselves out of Travis Hunter. One more win and you'll be reaching a worst-case scenario not even seen with a carmaker's failed rebrand. Tennessee will join you in that situation.
Miss!
What do you get when you have a team that literally can't do anything on offense against a team undone by themselves? A total dumpster fire. The banner before the game was a harbinger of what was to come. Both these teams embraced the spirit of what Tank Bull should be. Awful football, especially on the offensive side of things. The only rewards for the poor souls that drank themselves into a stupor in the parking lot are stalled drives and punting, especially by the Giants. And if New York can even do anything, it's undone by brutal penalties. Nolans may have a 14-3 lead, but that doesn't mean the agony can't continue. New York commits the horrible crime of making this a one-score game with a touchdown drive. So tank enthusiasts are forced to pay attention to this monstrosity for the sake of draft position. You'd think it'd be over after Drew Lock gifting them a pick on 4th down. But I have horrible news for those of you that wanted a non-eventful game. The Saints have to punt it back. But it's a final drive and the G-Men can't do shit with the ball, though. Oh no. Danger! Danger! The Giants are ruining their tank. I repeat, the Giants are trying to fuck up their quest for a new QB. Horsecock Lock has driven them down near the goal line. They are trying to tie the game with time winding down. God save us all.
Kreider the snap. Gillen the hold. The kick no good.
Whew, I was worried New York was going to try to win or something. Don't be sad, Giants fans. You're one step closer to Ward Sanders or Eller. That block was huge for the future. New Orleans can have the meaningless victory. They aren't doing shit with it anyway. Know how I know this? Derek Carr has a fractured non-throwing hand. Any extremely slim chance of going somewhere? It's got. Have fun. This is a tank bowl back in September. Two teams with playoff dreams shattering into a billion pieces before they hit the ground. A game that means pretty much nothing somehow becoming one of the closer matchups in the 1 p.m. window. In the wreckage of what was these grand monuments to pigskin, Jets and Jags fight to the death for nothing more than bragging rights. A shootout that brings us the feels of nostalgia at every turn. Mac Jones throwing like he's back in 2021 is merely a matinee performance. Behold the main show. Aaron to Devontae. A throwback to 2016 in all of its glory. It may have come months too late against one of the worst secondaries in football, but the magic is back. Rodgers unleashing hell with his old compadre to deliver the Jets a victory when the war's been long lost. Certainly aren't with Little Mac after all. Perfect. Behold, New York. A meaningless win that only leaves you even more bitter since it didn't happen earlier. If you aren't with the Jets at 4-10, don't hop on the bandwagon when they're 5-12. Football gods were trying to make sure this game didn't happen. Their solution to a terrible game on paper was to drench it in a borderline monsoon and tornado warnings. The average Thursday night contest? These franchises should be banished to the depths of hell. Except for Brian Thomas Jr., he can stay with us civilized people. Duval saw the planes flying above the stadium demanding Bulky's firing. And the fans are punished with a win that might keep him in the organization. To be fair, the Titans are a poorly coached, untalented train wreck, so it doesn't really count. Mason Rudolph guides Tennessee's tank back to the 2nd overall pick. If the Patriots somehow beat the Bills' backups next week, the glory's all theirs. Unlike Tennessee of today, it's beautiful. When a terrible team wins one game late in the year, it's devastating. When a terrible team goes on a winning streak late in the year, it's a wasted season. The Raiders had the number 1 pick in their sights, but for whatever reason, they unleashed anger at their team plane having mechanical issues the night before. An actual running game for Las Vegas? Now of all times? Fucking Amir Abdullah, a 10-year journeyman suddenly transformed into prime Marcus Allen with over 100 yards on the ground. The tanks are rolling, he and Brock Bowers are the landmines to blow it up. Bowers is an absolute beast on the field. So deadly, he set the rookie record for receptions and yards by a tight end. Under their might against a dead franchise, Las Vegas goes down to 8th in the lottery. There will most likely be no Project QB to ruin. Maybe they'll be like the Saints and pretend their failures are due to injuries. I think this might have been Cameron Jordan's last home game for them. He deserved better. What a shame. It's gonna be a long offseason, Niners. A Super Bowl may not be in your future, but another injury bowl certainly is. They're becoming a dynasty in this medium. For our important matchups, we begin with what I'm truly excited about. A generational competition concluding with only one champion. Tank Bowl! The rules are simple. Lose and secure a delicious bounty. New England gets first claim. If they somehow win, it goes to Tennessee. Then Cleveland, then the Giants if it gets to that point. We'll start out in New York to see if they understood the assignment. Good news, New York, you did. Fortunately, they weren't facing the god-awful Colts defense, so Drew Lock's magical run comes to an end here. It doesn't for Tanner McKee, however. With nothing to play for and Pickett injured, Tanner reinforces his claim as the most efficient quarterback in the NFL for some inane reason. Slinging nothing but touchdowns. Saquon's also resting, so the season rushing record will remain intact. The same can't be said about the Giants and their sanity. This was no contest. Winning one game late is one thing, but winning another would have resulted in riots on the streets. Tell the officers to stand down. Philly simply took them out to solidify their claim for the 2nd seed. That's more than good enough for Shane and Dable to stick around for another campaign. Easy enough. So far, so good. The final week always brings out the obscure and the circus acts. Bailey Zappi has been allowed out of the bomb shelter. Remember when he was a thing for about 3 weeks? That pick 6 is why the fat died off as fast as Concord. Zappi or DTR. An unplayable shit or a different color of unplayable shit. Baltimore wins by default. Merely a tune-up act as they waltz into an AFC North title on the back of one of the most dynamic offenses in the game. It's just gonna cost you Zay Flowers. Not a big deal, right? Who the hell needs reliable wideouts? There's a chance he can play for the playoffs, and Cleveland was more interested in the art of suck-it-dude, so it meant a whole lot of nothing. Kevin Stefanski needed a scapegoat and Ken Dorsey isn't any good, so they'll just cut his head off instead. Deshaun's Achilles setback to be determined. If there's a way to end a season in style, it's with a Michael Pierce thick pick. Like the Browns, he saw the distance he had to run and just said, fuck it. Cleveland did their duty, but there are many more that need to do their part. Nothing will be more hilarious to me than the Titans donning their old baby blues and going by the Oilers every time Houston comes to town. Sheer pettiness that has Bud Adams smiling while watching TV in hell's spacious bar. He was sipping on that whiskey down there as his franchise got the shit kicked out of them by the Texans' backups. General Mills and Damian Pierce running all over them as if it's 2022. Hell, it's a game full of throwbacks and who's who in the world of football. Will Levis even made a final appearance before he's traded for a 6th-round pick. A fine send-off to a horrifically disappointing season. Yet look to the future. Another quarterback in the mystery box of the draft will be yours. The game was meaningless. Houston can have the small victory. They have what's really important in the grand scheme of things. But while the Titans may have most of Houston's history and traditions, the Texans are forging one of their own. Saturday afternoon wildcard games. Take that, bud. You know the rules, New England. Lose. Do everything in your power to fail. Buffalo's playing their backups for this game after one play of Josh Allen, so the challenge will be even greater. And this is Gerard Mayo's chance to solidify his reputation as tank commander. Drake May's gotten the shit kicked out of him a little too much this year. That and he's too good, so in comes Joe Milton in his NFL debut. He was brought in for the suck, and he responds by turning into 2010 Michael Vick. Slinging footballs and dazzling with his feet in a showcase for more playing time in the future. Perfect. Of course, the Bills have nothing to play for, but they're just letting Milton shake, rattle, and roll his way to a career day. Figures. The moment the Patriots can build another dynasty on the opposite end, it crumbles in front of them by means of quality play. Why, New England? You had a chance to get a nice haul from a QB-hungry team for the first overall pick. You might have lost Travis Hunter. Don't destroy your glorious tank before the finish line. Patriots, no! No! After such treasonous ruination, we have a new champion in the art of losing at the 11th hour. Presenting the winners of the 2024 Tank Bowl, the Tennessee Titans! Their aspirations were playoffs, but a Tank Bowl is so much more desirable. It means a new Project QB to hopefully develop. Fire Brian Callahan, by the way. He's fucking useless.